Hey everyone, it's Katie. This week I want to talk about something that I love to do, which is baking. And so I've always I learned how to bake from my mom when I was really young. And then I started doing it on my own while growing up. And whenever something was stressing me out, I would always bake. And so my mom would have to cut me off. And she'd say, "No, Katie, you can't make another pan of brownies. We already have banana bread and cookies and muffins and coffee cake." Um, and right now, my family's complaining that all the weight they're gaining is my fault. But it's no wonder to me why baking feels good. You have this carefully laid out recipe, you have all the ingredients you need. It's so calm and straightforward. You have a cup of flour, your half cup of sugar. The only thing you can't mess up is your baking soda, or then you'd be in trouble. And I think something beautiful comes out of your efforts in an hour, and it tastes like comfort and memory and home. And since I've been back home, I've constantly been baking, something I don't get to do at college. Whenever we're running out of coffee cake, I'll start pulling out the ingredients for blueberry buckle cake. I just start making something new. And because I think baking isn't just a pastime for me, it's a kind of a form of coping too. And I like to use my grandmother's recipe for coffee cake. It's covered in stains, and she was a completely fabulous cook, but she died when I was 5, and so I never knew her. But when I make it, my dad says it reminds him of her, and he'll say, "Oh, it's just how Nai made it," and I'll feel close to her then. And my blueberry buckle cake recipe is from my great grandmother on my mom's side. And she was the most active woman in the world, was always doing things. Um, and no one in my family has yet to master her peanut butter pie. No one can make it like she did. And at the end of her life, even, she would always say, she would get confused and she'd say, "I think I left a pie in the oven. Would you get it out for me?" I say, "Yes, Mom. I'll go get your pie." I think baking is a connection to my family. It's um, a line I can hold on to when I dig out those batter covered recipes and that I don't really need to look at, but I love seeing their handwriting. And it's food, but it's also memories of joy. It isn't healthy at all, but comfort food really is. And I think it says a lot about culture too, what we make. We can make our instant Pillsbury crescents in like 12 minutes. But once my sister and I tracked down a recipe for real croissants, and little did we know, ended up taking 4 days and a pound and a half of butter. And so I think maybe the French know something about leisure. We're still learning. And sometimes I get really frustrated at God that He hasn't crafted life in the way He crafted baking. Um, you can follow your plan to a T. You can make every step measured and controlled. You can remember everything you need to do, and then bam, there's a national pandemic, and you don't get any say in your plans anymore. They're all by the wayside. And so I keep asking myself, what am I going to do now? All my plans are falling apart. And that's when I pull out the brown sugar and the cinnamon and the chocolate chips and I bake. I don't have the answers and I don't have even the questions to ask. But God then takes my fears and my struggles and my laments and transforms it into something comforting and warm and joyful, and something that I can share with my family too. And so I ask, what are your comfort foods? What are the recipes you cherish? Maybe you don't bake, but this quarantine has allowed you to do something you love. I hope you all take some time this week, maybe to bake something new. Thanks.